Data validation. I absolutely love this topic, and I believe we're actually going to do two sections of it because there's just so much to it, so many use cases to it. I'm just going to start off with the basics on this particular clip. Okay, so what is data validation? You're trying to limit the amount of human error that could happen when people are entering information. I'll go through a couple of examples in this first clip, and then I'll do a bit more advanced example in the next clip. Okay, so for the first one, I'm just going to talk about, for example, the department. Assuming we know we've got a certain number of departments in our organization, and maybe you don't want any typing mistakes, or you don't want people just creating departments that are not there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a validation that limits the amount of things or limits the exact type of departments that are going to be in there. So in essence, I'm going to create a list so that people can pick from. I'm just going to highlight the section where I want the validation and go to the data tab. And the data tools, you find data validation and you find data validation. Now, what exactly am I entering in? This is going to be a list. Right now, it's allowing any value. So if I click on any value and select list, I can now enter in what exactly is supposed to be in there. So for example, if under source, I could say we've got our IT department, and you separate them with a comma. In your case, you might be using a semicolon depending on your machine. So IT, comma, I'll put accounts, HR. Let's add in training, for example. Once I do that and click on OK, you find under department there's now a little drop down that allows me to pick just those 4 items. If I try entering anything else, let me try management. Oops, not allowed. Okay, and you can see there's a warning that is coming here. Actually, it's refusing for me to do this. Even if I say retry, nothing goes through. What I now need to show you is how to customize that message that comes through. So if I highlight again that section, go back to data validation, you find right now under the settings and we specified it's a list and the source is IT, accounts, HR, and training. I might want to have a message that will show up when people click on a particular cell. For example, I can say only listed departments allowed. Okay, and I can even go further and say how exactly is it going to stop people. For example, you notice when I tried to enter in management, it stopped me because right now the style is under stop. I could switch it to warning, whereby it will give me a warning and give me the option, do you want to continue with what you have typed in, or you can actually go under informative or information rather, where it simply says that you've typed in something and it's not allowed. It won't stop what you've typed in from going through. It will just tell you that this is not allowed or whatever it is. So I'm going to come back to my stop and I'm going to type in the message, stop it. Do that, click on OK. Okay, so for the first thing I talked about, remember if I click on, it's supposed to give me a little message. So if I click on any of the cells, you see only listed departments allowed. That was that little input message we entered in. If I try entering in management, now you see the error comes with stop it. So you've got the flexibility to add in whatever you want. Okay, that's one. That's a list type. Let me go for the second one, which would probably be a date. I'm going through the most commonly used data validations. So assuming we know that this particular project we're talking about, there is no way, or this particular type of information, there is no way it could have started before the 1st of January 2018, for example. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight the entire section. And I'll go to under data validation again. And under settings, this is not allowing any value, now allowing only a date, and the date has to be greater than, in my case that will be the 1st 01 of the 1st of 2018. If I do that and click on OK, it should allow any date over the 1st. For example, 02 01 2018 18. Works. Let me try 02 01 2017. Doesn't work because we simply specified that it has to be at least greater than the 1st of January. But you'll note there's already something that's in there, and this I left it in there intentionally, a date that was already in there. In some cases, you want to verify that the information you've got matches up with the validation you want. So in some cases, maybe someone has already entered in the information and you just want to verify, is it even possible that I have someone who entered in a date before the first? What I'll do is I'll go under data, data validation. You'll find circle invalid data. This will show you anything that is invalid according to the validation that is on that worksheet. So you might have people who have already entered in information. Now you just want to verify that it matches up with exactly what you wanted. Okay, last type of example I'm going to talk about is going to be under the employee ID. Actually, let me clear off these circles. That's under data tools, data validation. You'll find clear validation circles. Straightforward, right? Last but not least, for this particular clip, I'll just highlight under employee ID. We know that our employee IDs are 4 characters long, or in my case, you might have a situation where you have something that you know is exactly 10 characters. Like an example could be a phone number or a ID or something, and you want to make sure people enter in the correct number of characters. You might not know the exact things that have entered in, but you have the exact number of characters that they have entered in. How you do that is under data again, data validation. And in this case, I'm not allowing any value. I'm allowing text length, where I know that it has to be equal to 5 characters. Then okay. Now if I try entering in MLB 01, goes through 5 characters. But let's say someone made a mistake and made MLB 001. It won't work because we specify that it has to be exactly 5 characters. So data validation in terms of part 1, we just talked about the most common used validations, but there's so many use cases for data validation. Please take time to go through it and catch us on the next video.